Greetings. Welcome to my podcast, and thank you for tuning in. I'm Dr. Andrea Walker, family nurse practitioner. In today's episode, we will discuss protein, and more protein. We will cover the various types of protein, ways to help you get your protein in, protein supplements, and of course, protein-packed foods. Protein plays a major role in weight loss in general, but especially while taking any of the GLP-1 meds, to include Ozempic, Wegovy, Semaglutide, Mounjaro, Zepbound, and Tirzepatide. Out of all the macronutrients, protein provides the most fulfillment or satiety. Protein also helps with muscle preservation and metabolic rate during weight loss, so it is super important to make sure you are getting your protein in. Now, let's get started on protein tips for GLP-1 weight loss. Protein plays a crucial role in weight loss due to its impact on satiety, muscle preservation, and metabolic rate. Here's how it contributes to each. Protein leads to satiety, meaning it helps you feel full and satisfied for longer. It influences the release of hunger-related hormones like ghrelin, which suppresses the appetite, and the GLP-1 hormone, which also suppresses the appetite. When trying to lose weight, you will want all of the GLP-1 hormones circulating within your body as much as possible. When using GLP-1 medications, of course, the GLP-1 hormone is injected synthetically, but protein needs may increase and need to be monitored closely to ensure effective weight loss while preserving muscle. GLP-1 medications also influence satiety and appetite, often reducing food intake significantly. However, this can impact protein consumption in a few ways. Of course, the reduced appetite and meal size may make it harder to get in all of your protein needs. GLP-1 medication slows down gastric emptying and increases feeling of fullness, which can make it challenging to consume sufficient protein. Since total calorie and food intake might drop, it's essential to prioritize protein to avoid muscle loss, as you're likely eating less overall. I always tell my patients, don't force yourself to eat. However, when making choices while eating, make sure you get the protein in even more so than the carbs and fats. Of course, I want you to eat carbs and fats because you need a balanced diet. All of the macronutrients are needed when taking the GLP-1 medications, and even to the point of they all can help you lose weight. However, protein is the most important and most significant, so don't slack on your protein. Another reason to get your protein is because while being on the GLP-1 medications, you will have an increased risk of muscle loss. While GLP-1s help with fat loss, they don't protect muscle tissue. Since weight loss often includes muscle as well as fat, a higher protein intake can help counterbalance this effect, especially if you're eating fewer calories. Adequate protein combined with some form of resistance exercise is key for muscle preservation. Since GLP-1 meds can make you feel fuller faster, choosing easily digestible, high quality protein sources like Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, eggs, lean meats, or protein shakes can help you meet protein needs without large meal volumes. Protein rich snacks and small, frequent protein focused meals may also be more manageable. So, now let's discuss individualized protein needs. For those on GLP-1 medications, protein needs might be slightly higher than for those on a standard calorie restricted diet to support lean mass. General recommendations often suggest 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, but some may need even more while on GLP-1s, depending on their weight, activity level, and goals. I know many people who are at a weight loss plateau or they're not seeing the results that they want. A lot of times it's due to lack of protein and they're not getting in enough protein. They're not getting in the recommendations, so keep that in mind. Consulting with a healthcare provider who is informed on weight loss and the importance of protein can help tailor protein intake to individual needs. When using GLP-1 meds, paying extra attention to your protein intake can help ensure that you lose primarily fat rather than muscle, making your weight loss healthier and more sustainable, as well as help your overall weight loss plateaus. Another key factor to remember is compared to carbs or fats, protein generally takes longer to digest and absorb, keeping hunger at bay and reducing overall calorie intake. So make sure to eat your protein. Now, let's talk about muscle preservation and why protein intake is so important. When in a calorie deficit for weight loss, the body tends to break down both fat and muscle for energy. High protein intake combined with resistance training helps protect lean muscle mass during weight loss. Preserving muscle is essential because muscle is metabolically active tissue, meaning it burns calories even at rest. Loss of muscle could lead to a slower metabolism and make it harder to keep weight off in the long run. Now, let's move on to metabolic rate. Protein has a higher thermic effect of food. Sometimes you will see this in a calorie counting app like MyFitnessPal or something similar to that. And in parentheses, it will say TEF. Well, that stands for thermic effect of food. So protein has a higher TEF than fats and carbs. What this means is that digesting and processing protein burns more calories, and about 20 to 30% of its energy goes to digestion alone, compared to 5 to 10% for carbs and 0 to 3% for fat. In other words, protein burns more calories than eating carbs or fats. And of course, preserving muscle also helps maintain a higher resting metabolic rate, so you burn more calories throughout the day, which is something we all want to achieve. Now, let's transition to discussing the different types of protein and their benefits. First, we'll discuss animal-based protein. Personally, this is my favorite type of protein. Healthy animal-based proteins are those rich in nutrients and low in unhealthy fats. Here are a few examples. You have lean meat, things like chicken breast. It's high in protein and low in saturated fat. Turkey, and this could be ground turkey or whatever type of turkey you choose, but you want it to be lean. It usually is minimal fat and high protein content. I tried to choose the 99% fat-free ground turkey. And then another option would be lean cuts of beef. Look for cuts like sirloin, tenderloin, or ground beef labeled 90% lean or higher. The higher, the better. And then fish and seafood. Those are excellent options too for your protein sources. Salmon is a great option. It contains omega-3 fatty acids, which are heart healthy, along with a good amount of protein. And then there's tuna. It tends to be high in protein. And then your whitefish, cod, or tilapia, very lean and low in calories, but high in protein. And you can even eat shrimp. Shrimp is low in calories and high in protein with various vitamins and minerals. Next are eggs. Eggs are a complete protein source containing all 9 essential amino acids. They're also versatile and rich in B vitamins, choline, and healthy fats. And then don't forget about your egg whites. Personally, I like egg whites more than eggs, but I know a lot of people don't really care for the taste of egg whites, so either or. Another option for eating your eggs is you can have a combination of egg whites and eggs mixed together. And then there's Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt has more protein than regular yogurt, along with probiotics, calcium, and vitamin D. Opt for plain varieties to avoid added sugars. And then there's cottage cheese. This is high in casein protein, which digests slowly, making it great for sustained muscle support and keeping you feeling full longer. And lastly, grass-fed and organic options. When possible, opt for grass-fed or organic animal products. They tend to have higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids and antioxidants. Now, let's talk about plant-based proteins. These are not my personal favorite, but I'm going to address them, especially for my vegan and vegetarian listeners. The reason why they're not my favorite is because they don't tend to provide as much protein as the animal sources, but that's not always the case. However, as long as you're getting your protein in, it really doesn't matter. You just may have to eat a little bit more to get your protein in with the plant-based proteins as opposed to the animal-based proteins. So, with the plant-based proteins, you have legumes. This would be things like your lentils. They are packed with protein, fiber, iron, and folate, making them great for digestion and energy. Then you have chickpeas. They're high in protein and fiber and versatile for recipes like hummus, salads, and stews. And then things like black beans, kidney beans, or other types of beans. These can be high in protein and fiber, and they support heart health and blood sugar regulation. And let me clarify, when I say high in protein, these are great for my vegan and vegetarian listeners because, of course, they're not going to eat the animal-based protein with the actual meat, which tend to usually have about 25 to 30 grams of protein per serving. So when I'm talking about a plant-based, it may not necessarily have 30 grams of protein, but for my vegan and vegetarian eaters, it still is considered high for them. Now, next is quinoa. Quinoa is a complete protein, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids. It's also high in fiber, magnesium, and iron, making it a nutritious grain alternative. And then there's tofu, tempeh, and edamame. With tofu, it is made from soybeans. It's rich in protein and calcium and can be added to a variety of dishes. With tempeh, it is a fermented soy product with more protein and fiber than tofu, along with probiotics for gut health. And then edamame. These are young soybeans that are high in protein, fiber, and essential vitamins like folate and vitamin K. Next, nuts and seeds. You have your almonds, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, and hemp seeds. All of these are great choices when trying to get your protein in. And then there's whole grains. These are also plant-based. You have farro, spelt, and amaranth. With farro, it is high in protein and fiber with nutty flavors that work well in salads and grain bowls. Spelt is an ancient grain with a good protein profile along with fiber, iron, and magnesium. And then amaranth is a gluten-free grain that's also a complete protein rich in iron and magnesium. Then there's nutritional yeast. This deactivated yeast is often used as a cheese substitute and is rich in protein and B vitamins, including B12 when fortified. Next is seitan. Made from wheat gluten, seitan is very high in protein and has a meat-like texture, making it a popular meat substitute. And then lastly, vegetables that are high in protein. Vegetables in general do not have a ton of protein, but these are some of the vegetables that have more protein than others. Green peas, spinach, and kale, and also broccoli. So these plant-based proteins are not only nutritious, but can also help diversify your diet, providing different essential nutrients for a balanced and healthy lifestyle. Now let's discuss some protein-rich snacks. Greek yogurt. Already mentioned it, but that is a great way throughout the day, especially if you're not very hungry. You can snack on Greek yogurt. Also, don't forget about cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is an excellent source to get your protein in, and it's a great snack. And then you can do hard-boiled eggs. They're portable and high in protein, and they can be eaten in small portions. Now, also, don't forget about protein supplements. There's a ton of different protein shakes. You have whey casein, and plant-based protein powders, which make it easy to add 15 to 30 grams of protein in a single shake. I recommend you blend it with water or a small amount of almond or oat milk. There's also ready-to-drink protein shakes. These are pre-made protein shakes that are convenient and can be sipped over time if you're full. I always recommend these to my patients who are struggling to get their protein in. And of course, they're not eating as much because the injections are working so great. So don't forget about your protein drinks. Some of them are thick and they're made with dairy products. Some of them are really, really thin, like water, and they don't have dairy products in them. So I highly recommend you spend some time at a nutrition store like GNC or something like that and try to figure out what type of shake works for you. And then protein bars. These are definitely not a favorite of mine. However, they do provide 15 to 20 grams of protein. And if you are going to choose them, look for the low sugar options. We will conclude with other tips on getting your protein in throughout the day. These foods might not provide a lot of protein at one time, but can still help you get your protein in throughout the day. So there's high protein cereal or oatmeal. Some cereals and oatmeal products are fortified with protein, which can be an easy breakfast option. You can also consider adding protein powder to your oatmeal instead of sugar for added taste and, of course, the benefits of protein. I do this with my oatmeal when I eat it in the morning. I actually buy a protein powder. It's called UMP, stands for Ultimate Muscle Protein, and I order it offline and I buy the cookies and cream version. I fix my oatmeal, and instead of putting sugar or milk or anything else in my oatmeal, I will actually make my oatmeal with water and then add some of my cookies and cream protein powder, and it tastes really, really great. Also, if you're a coffee drinker, you can use ready-to-drink protein shakes as a creamer. This will help you get in additional protein. Those who just have to have their pasta, you can choose protein-enhanced pasta. Legume-based pastas like chickpea or lentil or protein-enriched noodles have higher protein content and can be added to meals in small portions. But remember, small portions. Then you can blend your protein powders into soups or broth. You can use unflavored protein powder, which can be added to soups, bone broths, or even mashed potatoes. And another option would be to add it to smoothies. Combine a protein powder with a small serving of fruit, leafy greens, and liquid for a nutrient-dense smoothie. And then lastly, you can mix it with nut butters. If you enjoy nut butters, consider mixing a little protein powder into them, which can be spread on apple slices or crackers for added protein. These strategies let you maintain protein intake without large meals, making it easier to meet your nutritional needs on a reduced appetite. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. I'm Dr. Andrea Walker, owner of Dr. Andrea's Medical and Weight Loss Clinic, located in Memphis, Tennessee, and Telehealth DNP, where I treat patients throughout the states of Florida and Arizona virtually. For more weight loss tips, you can follow me on Facebook or Instagram through either of my business sites. I hope you will have an awesome week. Make sure to meal prep, eat your protein, and drink your water, as well as get some workouts in. I will see you next week. Until then, bye for now.